Hello, beautiful people. Thank you so much for tuning in, watching, and listening. This is going to be the May 2022 reading for the zodiac sign of Taurus. Welcome, Taurus. As always, my readings are very intuitive, so I'll provide you with any intuitive messages that I receive, but I will, of course, always provide you the meaning of the tarot card as well. I do recommend you check out your sun, moon, and rising just to get a full picture of everything that's going on for you this month. And if you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. When you subscribe, that helps me greatly, and you'll be notified when I post future videos. With that being said, let's go and jump in and get started. In column number 1, we're going to take a look at what's wrapping up and coming to a close for you. So last few weeks or month possibly. In column number 2, we're going to take a general look at May and what's coming for you in May. We're going to do a money column, a love column, and in the 5th and final column, we're going to do a message from our future self or spirit guides. We're also going to do 3 yes or no questions, a healing note, and a crystal of the month for you. But let's see what we have here is a summary card. Again, what's wrapping up and coming to a close. We have the card context, so likely you did get some more context on something in the last few weeks. Possibly you hadn't been able to connect the dots on something to this point, Taurus. But let's see what information we have. The first card we have is the Page of Swords, and conveniently enough, this is also oftentimes like a truth coming out card. So with the Page of Swords, it's a very curious card. It can be a card of gossip, but in the case with it being tied or connected to that context card, I would likely say that you found the truth out on something in the last few weeks or month. Again, getting that additional context that you needed. The next card that we have is the Ace of Wands. Anytime we have an Ace card, it is a card of newness. The Ace of Wands specifically is like a new project or some sort of new inspiration. Then at the bottom here, we have the Three of Wands. The Three of Wands is a card of teamwork. So you could have been working with somebody. Maybe that's how you're finding out some of this information. But it's also a card of expansion, so your family could have been expanding, your mindset could have been expanding, definitely your context expanded here. Well, let's see what other clarifying cards we have, what other messages we can get here. The first card we have is the Six of Swords. The Six of Swords is a card of necessary transition. If you look at this card, these people, their heads are hanging low. There's a bunch of swords stuck into the boat. But the boat's heading in a nice forward direction. So when I see the Six of Swords, this is something that needed to happen. It's transition that's necessary. This could also be travel or relocation. But interestingly enough, paired with the Page of Swords, I feel like whatever this truth was that you found out, you needed to hear, you needed the context so you can go through this necessary transition. So it's kind of like the missing link to this next step for you. The next card that we have is the Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups is that like prince or princess charming type energy. It's a knight in shining armor. It is a very romantic card. It could be a card of proposals. Paired with the Ace of Wands, that being a new card, new creativity. Some of you could have the urge to create a new relationship. It could be love or friendship. It could be a business proposal too. This isn't always like a marriage proposal, but I do feel like for a lot of you, this is a new relationship. Again, may not be a love relationship. It could be a coworker or a friend. But definitely it feels like a new partnership in some sort. The next card that we have is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is very solid, very practical, very wise. Sometimes the Three of Swords can mean commerce, and the King of Pentacles can be a investment card. So some of you could have had like a new investment, so some sort of commerce expansion, money move in the sense there. But with that Three of Wands, again, that's expansion, and it could have been financial, could not have been. But it's also, again, being solid, being practical, being wise. So as you expand, just remember to keep those 3 words top of mind: solid, practical, wise, Taurus. Now let's take a look at our next column, which is General May, what's coming. We have the card Friction. Friction sometimes I feel like kind of like turns people off, like it doesn't sound like a good card. But what I see when I see the friction card is it means that things are moving, and when things move, it causes friction. But in general, it's saying that things are moving. So when we see the friction card, it's more of a good thing than a bad thing, typically when I see it come up in my readings. But let's see what messages we have under this column May, just kind of general what's coming in for you, Taurus. The first card that we have is the Five of Swords. The Five of Swords is an interesting card. It's typically not a very good relationship, so maybe that's that new relationship, because some of you could be wrapping up and coming to a close with an old relationship that was not very good. Think like bullies, theft, violence, abusive relationship. Again, this doesn't necessarily have to be love. It could be coworker or a friend or a family member, but typically indicates not a good relationship. Of course, we're going to clarify that card. The next card that we have is the Star card. The Star card is a good card. It's a card of renewal, hope, inner clarity. It could be being in the spotlight. You could be getting recognized for something. That's what this big star is at the top there, Taurus. Some of you could be moving away from this not very good relationship, and that's what's triggering this renewal and inner clarity and that kind of bounce back to your emotions there. The next card that we have is the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles is a very, very solid, practical, I already told you these words, solid, practical, wise. Those are your words for this month, Taurus, solid, practical, wise. But again, this is you just being solid, practical, and wise. Make sure you do that as you go through whatever this relationship is. It could also be a good investment card. So if you have the opportunity to invest this month, Taurus, I feel like it'll probably be a pretty good move. But let's see. Let's clarify this column. The first card that we have is the Sun card. It doesn't really get much better than the Sun card when it comes to tarot cards. This is a card of material happiness, joyous outcomes, success. It's really the card of everything. So as you part ways with this not very good relationship, for sure you will find happiness on the other side, and joy and success. So do be ready to move away from that Five of Swords relationship and on to something much better there. The next card that we have is the Two of Swords. The Two of Swords is a card of having to make a compromise or make a decision. In this case, I feel like you did make some sort of decision, and likely that's what's being recognized, the star moment. But there's also like a decision that was made, and possibly it was that decision to move away from that relationship that again is going to renew you, give you that hope, and have your spirits kind of on the rebound there. At the bottom here, we have the King of Wands on top of the King of Pentacles, so that's a big king type energy at the bottom here. But the King of Wands is very bold, very leadership-like, very powerful. Again, definitely still a good time to invest for you, Taurus, if you do have an investment opportunity coming up. I could see that being really good for some of you. Some of you could be moving into a leadership role, or some of you could just be leading in general, and hence that's why it's so important to be solid, practical, and wise. But really, really good traits tied into these two cards, and these traits being yours. So let's take a look now at money. So think of anything as it relates to money: job, career, finances, businesses you run, investments you have, anything related to money. The first card we have is the Five of Wands. The Five of Wands is a card of the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands is a card of self-defense, or feeling like you need to protect yourself against competition. So in work, for some of you, I do feel like you are feeling like there's competition between you and another coworker, or perhaps you feel like you're having to defend your work at this point. And this could branch outside of work. For most of you, I think it will be work related. But I do feel like some of you are feeling like you're in that self-defense kind of position. The next card we have is the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups, if you take a look at this card, there's something different in every cup here. So it means you have lots of different options. In general, I feel like you have a lot of options, a lot of potential in your current job or with your current investments or money opportunities. Sometimes with the Seven of Cups, though, this can be a card of like lack of commitment. So as you see something you want, I would say pursue, like rather than saying, oh, I want this, oh, and then like a little bit later, like, oh, I want this instead. Do pursue what you want, because you're going to have lots of options, and it can kind of like have the squirrel effect. So be committal, Taurus. And then at the bottom here, we have the Fool card. The Fool card's the first card in the Major Arcana. Therefore, it means new beginnings. So this is a card of fresh hope, taking chances, going on a new path, going on a new adventure. So there could be a new investment or a new job opportunity, or even just a new career path for you at your existing job. Again, there could be lots, so you may have to pick one and commit to it with that Fool type energy, though. Let's see what kind of messages we have here for you. The first card we have is the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is kind of like that work smarter, not harder type energy, but it is also an indicator of how hard you're working. So the Eight of Pentacles is about mastering your craft, enjoying your employment. But when I see the Eight of Pentacles, people know that you're a hard worker, Taurus. So even if you feel like you're having to defend yourself or you feel like there's competition, you just need to keep doing what you're doing because you're working hard and people know that you're working hard. So you're doing quality work. Don't let anybody convince you differently, and don't compare yourself to others either. That could be some of what's going on there. The next card that we have is the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is a card of waiting for results, or as it relates to this more specifically, having to make a choice. So again, we were talking, you have lots and lots of options. This is a card of being non-committal. The Two of Wands is saying make a choice. The Two of Wands can also be a card of travel. So some of you could be doing some travel for work, but be committal. The next card that we have is the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands is a card of a celebration. So whatever path you decide to go on, whatever you commit to, Taurus, it's going to take you to this really wonderful new beginning with the Fool, and then it will take you to that point of celebration. So you definitely will make the right choice, whatever you decide to commit to, when you decide to commit to it. There will be some celebration associated with it. So it's kind of one of those situations where you can't go wrong, but you do need to commit. Now let's take a look at our next column, which is anything related to love. So think family, friends, relationships, children. Again, anything that you associate with love, Taurus. The first card that we have is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is a card of tradition. It's very conventional. It's a card of expectations. Sometimes as it relates to being traditional, I do see this as a marriage card. So some of you could be getting engaged, or there could be a proposal. But in general, I feel like this is like a pretty traditional, standard type relationship at this point if you're in a relationship. If you're single, I feel like at this point in time, you haven't met anyone that you feel like is meeting your expectations, Taurus. Of course, we're going to clarify this card, but that's the message that I'm getting at this point. The next card that we have is the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is a card of waiting for results, or travel. Again, you did have a travel card earlier too, so there could be some travel for you. But again, for those of you that are single and not having your expectations met, I feel like you're just like waiting because again, you haven't found that person meeting your expectations. For those of you that are in a relationship, you very likely could have been waiting for this marriage or proposal for a while, and that's what this Two of Wands energy is. Of course, we'll clarify. Then at the bottom here, we have the Lovers card. You couldn't ask for a better love card in the love column with the Lovers card. Lovers is a card of deep love, a card of partnership, card of strength and two. I would say if you are in a relationship, you're in a really good, healthy relationship. Again, the Lovers card is great. For those of you that are single, I do feel like there's potential for this person to come, potentially after some more waiting. But I wouldn't rule it out, Taurus, if you're single and want a relationship. I think the potential is definitely there for you. Sometimes this is having to make a choice too. So again, directing this towards those of you that are not in a relationship. Sometimes you have to make the choice if you want to be in a relationship or not. I feel like some of you could be on the fence or just are indecisive. So again, you kind of only get what you're seeking. So in order for you to get love, if that's what you want, you would need to be seeking it, Taurus. the first card that we have, first clarifying card we have here is the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is very confident, very self-assured. Some of you have like kind of been having to tell yourself, okay, they are going to ask me to marry them, or we are going to get married. So there's been some self-assurance that's maybe come through this. Also, for those of you that are single, I feel like you do need to keep self-assuring and being confident that you do have the right expectations and not settle for something below your expectations. The next card that we have is the Four of Pentacles. The Four of Pentacles is a desire card, most specifically a desire for long-term security, but of course it could be that desire for the relationship or desire for marriage or starting a family. So not super surprised to see a waiting card and a desire card paired together there. Then at the bottom we have the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is a very generous card. And I feel like this is a good reminder that love is kind of give and take. So for those of you that are in a relationship, especially we have that Lovers card, which is a really great card, do make sure that that give or take is there. For those of you that are single, this is a really odd message, but I'm going to throw it out there. For those of you that are single that are interested, you may want to ask one of your friends if there is somebody. I know that sounds silly and I know that's not for everybody, but that's what this asking for help is coming through, is there could be somebody they're hoping to set you up with. Now let's take a look at our fifth and final column, which is a message from our future self or spirit guides. Something to take into the month of May with you. We have the card Time. So when I see this, this means a couple different things. Either it's time to take action or potentially there's time to wait. But let's see where this Time card takes us. Okay, the first card that we have is the Four of Swords. The Four of Swords is a very tired card. If you look at this person, they're laying down flat in bed. This is a card of needing to rest, retreat, renew, recover. So do definitely make sure that you're taking time for yourself this month, Taurus. Otherwise, your energies could get pretty low, so do caution there. We do have the Sun card though. We had the Sun card earlier, and as I mentioned then, it doesn't really get much better than this. The Sun card is that card of material happiness, joyous outcomes, success. So really good feelings going into May, assuming again, don't burn yourself out. Then at the bottom we have the Devil card, and the Devil card is a card of envy, materialism, obsession. I do feel like there's something that you're maybe more focused on than you should be right now, Taurus, but let's clarify this column. You kind of have three separate messages coming in here. But let's see where this takes us. The first card we have is the Ace of Cups. Anytime, again, we have a card of newness, we need to, or anytime we have an Ace card, it is a card of newness. The Ace of Cups specifically, though, is new baby, relationship, proposal, marriage. And I'm getting that if you want anything of any of these, Taurus, you do need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself first. If you're really exhausted, these things are not likely to come to you. So do keep that in mind. And I like to throw this out there because this isn't always love. This could, again, be that job offer or that business proposal. But your energies need to be in the right place for that to happen. Then we have the Moon card. The Moon card is a card of voluntary changes. So there's some sort of decision or shift that you're making that's now taking you to the Sun point. Maybe again, it's taking that time to get yourself rested and recovered. But again, there's some sort of voluntary change that you have to make in order to get to those Sun feelings. Then at the bottom here, we have the Queen of Cups. I like the Queen of Cups. It's a very healing card. It's a very supportive card. If you look at the cup on this card, it's really not a cup. It's more like a trophy. And that trophy is you, Taurus. So I feel like you could be comparing yourself to someone else. And this is kind of the reminder that you're the trophy. Again, you're focused on something you shouldn't be focused on, or you're focused on what somebody else has, but in reality, again, you're the trophy and you already have it. So do keep that in mind. Try and stay away from that, keeping up with the Joneses kind of mentality. But overall, a good spread for you here, Taurus. At this point in time, I'm going to give you the opportunity to ask 3 yes or no questions. We're going to use the Gypsy Witch fortune telling deck. If you don't have 3 questions in mind, you can pause the video and think of them really quick. But for question number 1, we have the Queen of Diamonds. This is the number 12 card. That's going to be a yes. Question number 2, we have the King of Diamonds. This is number 15 card. That's also a yes. And for question number 3, we have the Queen of Spades. This is number 42 card. That's a yes. So yes, yes, yes for you, Taurus. We're also going to pull a card from our Healing Stones deck. This is a crystal to keep with you throughout the month of May. Put it on your desk, put it on your nightstand, keep it in your pocket. You have labradorite this month, which is good for realism. Also very helpful for mediumship. It helps you kind of see through illusions. It's very good for knowledge. It's great for the mind. And it kind of helps you, again, awake that spiritual, those spiritual feelings. Or spiritual awareness, I should say. Then, last but not least, we're going to pull a card from our Healing Notes deck. Your note says, you know that you are surrounded by love, support, thoughts, and heartfelt prayers by all of us. Thank you so much, Taurus, for tuning in, watching, and listening. Please do like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how this video resonates with you. Again, when you subscribe, that helps me greatly, and you'll be notified when I post future videos. If you feel inclined, I did include my Venmo in the comments box if you'd like to make a donation. But thank you, Taurus, and have a wonderful May.